Hey guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome to my channel. This is a channel all about homeschool reviews, the curriculum I use, some of the books that I'm really enjoying with my kids, our homeschool journey, how I plan, how I prep, and how I put things together and organize them in our homeschool because I love all that stuff and I love sharing that stuff with you guys. So today's video is all about our morning basket and how I kind of set it up and how much of a importance it is in our homeschool. I want to share with you guys that this is our main subjects that we study in the morning time, and I noticed that my kids learn a lot better in the morning. So when we are done with our breakfast, this is what we pretty much do. And these are those selections of books that I have for September. And the books that are not included in here are my unit study books that I have shared with you guys in a video previously about our astronomy unit study. So if you want to look at any of those like space books that we have that we've gotten from the library that I use in our unit studies, I do have them in our morning basket, but I just don't happen to have all of them here right now. But I'll link that video up above for you guys to check out. And so what I usually have in our morning baskets are, like I said, are a lot of what we do for school. We do our devotionals or our Bible reading in there, and then our poetry books. We have several picture books that I pull out for my son, and we kind of rotate them out so that they're fresh and new. I also get some nursery and rhyming books for my youngest as well, because I think that's important. I know since my daughter's getting older, some of these things I stopped doing, but I know that it's really important to keep in our homeschool, and it's really great review for her because she likes to read them and memorize them and share them with her brother. And then also I have like a rotating selection of books with like art appreciation, and then I have stuff that talks about manners or safety. And then I also have books that we rotate like geography and history. So let me get into the basket to show you guys kind of like what I do on a daily basis, but this is just the selection that I have for the next like 2 to 3 weeks for the month of September. All right, so I don't have all of my Bibles, but I like to collect Bibles because I love them, and I like to read different types of Bibles to them to keep it more fresh, because sometimes it gets mundane or boring to read the same one over and over again. This one you can see we've used a lot. These are the ones we've read, and these are the ones for astronomy that we're going to be reading with our unit study. So this is a great book called Indescribable Devotions, and I have a whole entire video flip through for this if you want to go check it out. And also I got a really cool book called DK, the Illustrated Bible for Children, and these pictures are super beautiful, and I wanted to get this. It was on my Amazon wish list, and I was gonna buy it maybe on thriftbooks.com or Amazon, and I never did because I have so many Bibles. And I saw this at the library and I got it for $1, guys. It's a really beautiful book, and it has a little bookmark ribbon in it, and I have been reading this to my kids and I love it. It's really, really good for your kids that are getting a little older, that understand the Bible, and you've read all of those little simple Bible devotional books to them. So this goes a little bit more in depth, and this is such a beautiful illustrated Bible. So those are the two Bibles that I will be reading with them for the next few weeks. And then I think also the Jesus Storybook Bible, which I don't have in here because my basket's like full to the rim. So as far as what we read after our Bible, we read the poetry, book of nature poetry that goes along with our astronomy unit. So I try to pull stuff that goes along with our unit study. So this is a great book. I also have a flip through with that. The Llama Who Had No Pajama. This was a poetry book that was given to me by Bookshark for my review. My daughter and I have a lot of favorite poems in here now. It's really, really thin, and I would really recommend this book to any little kid or any kid in elementary. It's super good. This is a new book in our poetry selection for our first grade curriculum that I got. It's called A Child's Garden of Verses, so I like reading these to them as well, and then I try to pick out some poems that have to do with the solar system or space or the sun or the earth, and I will pull those poetry stories out of this book as well. Alright, so that's what I usually do. I do Bible and poetry, and sometimes it'll take 10 minutes, sometimes it'll take 15 minutes, depending upon how my kids are engaged in it and they're eating breakfast at that moment while I'm reading it. I will also be sharing with you guys some picture books that are good for my preschooler that I like to have in this as well. The Way I Feel. This one's a really good book talking about kids' feelings, and this was given to me by my aunt, and she was a first grade teacher, and she had given me a lot of picture books that are awesome, talking about feelings and people and differences and loving the person that you are. So this is a good one for self-esteem. And then this is Schmutzy family. Schmutzy in Yiddish means like dirty. So this is a really fun one. Talks family just likes to get dirty all week long, but on the Shabbat they get all cleaned up for the Shabbat. And this is a book that was given to me by PJ Library. It's a free book club, kind of like you register for it and they send free books to you for your family. So this one is super fun. And I like this book for my son because we are learning his numbers, and he needs to learn to recognize the numbers. He knows how to count and everything, but he doesn't recognize the numbers. So this is a good book by Eric Carlisle that has great pictures of animals, and they talk about the numbers. And then if I read this to my son and my daughter, sometimes I will have her do addition in her head and I'll ask her some questions that are harder, and then sometimes I'll ask my son to identify the numbers or count the animals. So that's how I use this book. And then, like I said, I like to keep things simple because I have a preschooler. So these nursery rhymes by, let me see what, Pretty Books, Big Ideas for Little People. This is such a good book, and I just love the way it looks like it's stitched and embroidered. This is just a really good nursery book that my daughter has memorized, and she will read it to my son, and it's so cute. I think I'll show a little picture of them, or video of her reading it to him, and he's like totally engaged, and it's adorable. So if you guys have older kids and they're not reading to your kids, then I would try that out because it really is special. It's really cool. This is also a little book that I keep in here once in a while, the ABC Clifford, and so we go over the ABCs with my son, and we'll talk about things that start with the letter J or I, and then for a challenge for my daughter, I will have her try to spell some of the easy words out, and then I'll help her out as well with it. So whatever I do for my son, I always try to ask him questions, and then I'll try to engage her and ask her harder questions. So you can always do read out louds for all different ages. So, and then I have a bunch of other books. This is a really good, my
Little Golden Book About God, Madeline Rescue, Madeline and London. We haven't read Madeline in a while. Just Us Women is a really good book, and The Three Little Bears. This is just a really cute.
And then I will always have, like I said, something like to do with manners or safety. That I do like maybe once a month, and then I always like to do like an art study, and then I have been doing geography or history. Now our history is really done now through audio, and we listen to our history story of the world at in the car when we're doing errands, so that works out really, really well. And so far that's all we have been doing. So we really focus more on geography for our morning time, and we do this like once a week. Sometimes if it's really, really good and we enjoy it a lot, we do it twice a week. I actually am doing a flip through of this, so I might share it with you. I've already shared it with you, so I will link it up above. If not, you will see this video coming up pretty soon. So this is the complete book of maps and geography, and we do a activity in this once or twice a week. It's really, really good. We're really enjoying it. And this is just a book that I got, Please and Thank You by Richard Scarry, Forget Their Manners by Berenstain Bears. I also have a couple other manner books and little games to do with them. So we do the manners thing maybe once a month. We don't do it every single week, but I have these in our morning baskets to do for September. And for our art, I got a art and nature book. This is the Metropolitan Museum of the Arts, and I looked through this book, and I got this at a thrift store for like $1, and I didn't see anything questionable in here. And what I usually do is I just randomly pick a poetry piece. These are all nature poetry, and yeah, all nature poetry. So I will read a little poetry piece, and then we will just have a picture study, and then we'll talk about the picture, and I will show them, like, I'll ask them about the textures or the colors or what's in the picture. I'll just ask them little questions, and this is just a really cute book that you can get in any thrift store. So if you find a Museum of the Art book that has nice pictures in it, it's always great to use as a little art study. And then I also have this masterpiece Baby Einstein book that I wish they had more of because it is just so awesome. They have these pictures to study. They have all these questions with these little flat pages. And to make it a little harder, sometimes I will have my sung guess, and he'll do the flipping of the pages, and then I'll have my daughter spell out the words that are the answers. And so this is just such a good book. But I went on Amazon, and this is the only one that they have available. I wish they made more of these. There's such good art study for ages 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I think, would enjoy this book. Even a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old really enjoy studying the pictures in this book. And then as far as like world culture, we have Children Just Like Me that we will be looking at this month, and we'll just like read a few snippets of it, a few paragraphs, and talk about the children in different parts of the country. Don't feel like, oh my gosh, how does she do all that? I just choose one. So one day we might do this art book, one day we might read a book about manners, as maybe a picture book, and then one day we'll do geography, and then one day we might do the world culture book. So not every single day we get to these, but I would say the majority of the time we try to read one of our rotation subjects, and it really works out well for us to do it right after our morning times. And I get lots and lots of our subjects covered in morning time with them because I have their focus and they're eating breakfast. Last but not least, what I put in our morning basket time is something that we do in the afternoon. So it's kind of like our morning afternoon basket. These are our read out loud books. So I just always have them in the front. So whenever we're ready for lunch and I make them lunch, I have this available just to start reading to them. And I tend to read at least a chapter at a time for them. And then sometimes when I want to break, I will do audio, but this one does not have audio. So we've been we've been listening to Paddington Bear on hoopla.com, which is a library app. If you have a library card, it is a great app where you can listen to lots of library books on audio. So if you want to give your little voice a break, it's a great little way to do that. So I'm either reading a chapter out of this or we're listening to hoopla.com. And then sometimes for fun, we like to listen to Adventures in Odyssey for lunchtime. So that is my morning basket. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.